Hello there, welcome back to the channel. It's Richie here from Dawi After Dark. Now, we have had lots of people asking for this video, so today I have Tom Carley on and we are going to be talking about the Dawi Tsar. So welcome to the channel, Tom Carley, who has been hotly requested to come and do this video. How's it going, mate?
It's good, mate. I've totally not been blinded by a red light in the last 30 seconds. I'm absolutely okay. Technical difficulties, but everything's fine. Everything's fine.
So just off camera, I mean, I might put it as a blooper at the end of the video, but Tom's strobe light decided to go absolutely nuts and it looked like a disco in his room.
Yeah, it was like the forges of Hush lit up behind me. But no, yeah, I'm good. I'm here. I've got my hat on. Let's get chorfy.
Yes. So after 1.5, there have been a lot of changes. People have been buzzing about the fact that infantry has got a lot better in this edition. What do Chaos Dwarves have lots of that's really good? It's infantry. And you also have monsters and magic, but we'll get onto that in a little bit anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, the first big takeaway here is, Richie, how many of your infantry units got hit in 1.5?
Yeah, I mean, everything apart from Iron Drakes and Iron Breakers, funnily enough.
So this is what first thing we can just take off the bat is Chaos Dwarf infantry pre 1.5 was always seen as very, very expensive. It still is, but that gap's now closed and it's gotten a lot tighter with the normal dwarf brethren because now it doesn't feel as bad paying those points for your Infernal Ironsworn or your Infernal Guard because you look over at a Hammer or an Ironbreaker and you go, yeah, okay, cool. It's not that bad now, it's not that bad. It's still a premium, but that's the first thing out the bat. We got through unscathed. Being a legacy faction does have its payouts every now and again. So there was nothing there. One of the big things, though, again, just to talk about not getting touched by things, a signature spell didn't get touched either. So it just means that we need to have a tactical adjustment on things. The good old fail-safe of Storm of Ash has gone from being, I'm going to get that off 4 out of 6 turns to, right, I've got 2 power scrolls, I've got Wand of Jet, I've got luck on my side, I'm casting it this turn. Come on, it's going to go off. So it's that one moment instead. So you just need to rearrange your tactics a little bit. But yeah, life is looking pretty good for the Dwarf right now. It looked really bad around December, January time. Poison, Death Stars, dragons running rampant and things like that. And there are a lot of things that look good for us now. So I think, should we start at the characters and just work our way down and talk about how things slot in?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's been so many changes. Like, the entire game is fundamentally different. Like, we've got objectives now. Magic has just completely shifted. So you've almost got to think that from the ground up. So yeah, if we start with the characters, then we can just kind of work through.
Cool. So the big changes 1.5 in characters. You've got your cap on your level 4 and level 3 wizards. This is not an issue for Chaos Dwarves. We weren't ever an army that could take 5 level 3 wizards and 5 level 4 wizards. You take in 2. We were only ever going to take 2. Well, 1, maybe 2. So everything's okay here. The 500 point cap on characters as well. Pretty much okay because near enough every build I ever built, it was 495 points for your sorcerer on a bull. And that was like one of the most expensive builds you could do. So we're all good there. We're not going to do any thinking. And an Orc War Boss I'm with, and he was cheap as chips anyway. So you've not got to rethink that. You have to rethink the way you're using them now, because now we have objectives. These characters can't just dominate the map like they used to be able to do. So you might actually look at taking some of the other ones. I am desperately trying to get a Bull Centaur Taruk into a list. I'm really trying. The unit itself is still pants of just normal Bull Centaurs because it sits in special and it's still damn expensive for what it does. But the Toruk is very, very cool now. The main reason for this is we're seeing a lot less dragons and we're seeing a lot more things like characters inside a unit of knights or chariot characters or, I know it's still a chariot, but sky cutters and things like that, eagles. We're seeing lots of smaller level things, and a Toruk, who is effectively a peg knight on foot, is a mean thing to deal with. For all intents and purposes, he's a peg knight on foot. He's not got a bucket load of attacks, but he hits like a truck and he's got swift striding impact hits. Great little tech piece there. One of the big things here as well is level 1 wizards took a massive leg up in terms of the overarching meta. There's a lot more reason to take them now. And at 80 points, a little Demon Smith Sorcerer as an engineer is really quite good. I've written a few lists now where I've not taken any of the top level characters, and I've just taken 3 of the Demon Smiths. They're all sitting there on Dark Magic because Doombolt, a Strength 3 template, 7 to cast. Yep, cool, wicked. 24 inches off it pops. And you're going to, 9 times out of 10, you'll claim his points back across the game, either through re-rolling misfires on your war machines, which have gotten much, much better now, or you're just throwing out some magic or dispelling. So they're all really good. The BSB is something I'm taking more and more now as well. You've got to be really careful with this guy because it's so easy to end up spending like 250 points on him. You don't want to, because he's just a BSB. You're already leadership 9/10 across your army. He's there to carry the Lamasu's Beard banner. That's it. For those who can't remember the Lamasu's Beard banner, it's the magic resistance in a bubble and 5-up ward save in a bubble, 6-up in combat for the unit they're in. So it makes your chaff units insane. One of the things that I've found is bloody hilarious, and someone's taking it to the WTC, got it cakes, where it's bunches of units of Hobgoblin Warriors. Now, what he's not done is put the Lamasu's Beard banner in the middle of them, but that sounds so funny to me. Here's 120 units of Hobgoblin Warriors, because you take 4 in core, can't you? So 4 by 30 units of Hobgoblin Warriors, who've now got a 4-up save in combat because of the new parry thing. A 4-up save goblin.
It's just madness, isn't it? It's like that's one of my favorite things about 1.5. Actually, it's like we're going to start seeing the common goblin as well in Orcs and Goblins, and like the common orcs as well, like just the normal orc boys, because they've actually getting a much better save now. So all of the stuff that was kind of you take it as chaff actually is quite hard to deal with now. Like if you're hitting that with stuff that doesn't have any AP, like it's so hard to deal with.
Yeah, well, I mean, 30 goblins with full command and light armor shield is 137 points, Rich. It's nothing. That's nothing. So let's say we're going to a 5-day event, not a 5-day, a 2-day event, a 5-game event. There is a decently solid chance across those 5 games we're going to get Strat 3 or Strat 4. We're going to get Domination in one of them. There's a very good chance. Now, I know some events have got a lot of addendums on how Domination score, but it's still a very high-scoring mission, regardless of how you're going to addendum it or comp it. So if I take 4 units of those Hobgoblins, that's my core basically covered. I'll take a unit of 10 Infernal Guard just sitting in the middle with the Overseer's banner, so now they're leadership 10. They've lost the Levies rule. Sick. Inside that unit of 10 Iron Infernal Guard, I've now got the Lamasu's banner. Sick. Now we've got a ward save on all of these right now. We've got an immovable block in the centre of the board now. Nothing wants to charge that. A dragon coming at these units of Hobgoblins will run away, which is hilarious because you've got Close Order, Horde, full command. Just go away, Mr. Dragon. You know, you what, 3 or 4 wounds to me? Piss off, I've got CR6. And I've got a ward save as well because of this damn banner, so you might not even kill me, which would be even funnier. So you've got this immovable brick in the middle of the board. What do you supplement this immovable brick with? Well, the Iron Demon is back, boys and girls, and everyone. The Iron Demon is just back. Like, the problem with this thing early on, and I've got to thank Dave Brewis for this, is Poison just ruined this thing. Like, and I say I've got to thank Dave Brewis. Basically, I was trying around December, January time to get Chaos Dwarves back to being a top tier army like I thought they could be. And he went, no, Poison exists. You're a 3-2 army at best, and it was. They've still been great fun at club, but at a top end level, they just weren't there. With Iron Demons now being back to a point where you can just walk across the battlefield, shrugging cannonballs because you've got a ward save, and 3-up armor save still puts you up to a 6 if a cannonball hits you. Many of my opponents can attest that they will shoot 4 cannons at an Iron Demon. Statistically, that blows it up. I've taken 1 wound. I'm just keep on going, especially if they're dwarf cannons.
Well, yeah, you're not going to take any of that.
Like, oh, okay, cool. Your 3s to wound me. And I've got a 5-up save. Wicked. The only thing is the dwarf cannons do knock off the ward save because they don't get the against magic attacks. But yeah, these Iron Demons shred stuff, man. If you're going up against anything that's T3 or 4, T3 it just deletes. T4, it's going to really, really hurt. And T5 looks at it and goes, I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, a secret bit of tech for anyone out there, like I really rate any of the organ gun mechanics. Like in my current X-Force list, I'm running 2 organ guns. I really like the fact that you can project some strength 5 shooting that's quite good AP as well. Like if you can roll 6s, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And the same with the Iron Demon. The fact that obviously it's got a shorter range, but it moves, that range projection that you can get out with your little stunties is very, very good. And if you spike that roll, because you will spike that roll if you're in a game or if you're in a tournament, like how many turns is that over a weekend? Like you will spike in a couple of those games, and one organ gun has the potential to kill one of the exalted dragons in just one round of shooting. Like I've done it, like I know it happens. Obviously, a lot of your games you're probably going to roll badly, or the first couple of times that you've tried one of the organ gun mechanics, it hasn't gone that well. Just keep trying it. There will be one day when you're like, yeah, I'm going to take as many of these as I can now.
The other version of it as well, the Skullcracker, in my opinion, has gone up dramatically in effectiveness here. And that's because of the objectives. So yeah, the Iron Demon Skullcracker, and for those who don't know what the Skullcracker is, it's the combat variant. And this thing has gone up in stocks a lot for me. Whereas before it was something I would previously never take outside of a fun game. Now I'm like, no, this has got use points and a decent amount of use points. And what this does is it gives you the Armor Bane 1 across the entire model. So that's going to be on our impact hits, on our grinds. And our impact hits are now at 2d6 plus 2. The reason this thing has gotten good is because you can park this thing next to your unit of hobgoblins that's on an objective. Just pop it on the flank there. You know something is coming towards it. Because if this is the special location in the middle, if it's baggage train, if it's strategic locations 3 to 4, 2 not so much, but 3 to 4, something is coming towards that point to shift those goblins off. That is going to be worth quite a lot more than 140 points because it's going to take more than that unless it's also goblins. This thing as a counterpunch is insane. So it's very, very good. I don't think it's as good as the basic Steam Cannonade one. It is a shame that you have to pay 10 points to lose your gun. I think it's the only example of that across the entire edition. But it's good. It's still got a 3-up save. It can still cause terror if you upgrade it. They're very, very good.
It'd be quite nice to see these actually, because I competitively haven't seen any of these played. So that is another benefit for the new edition, is just the fact that you're just going to see a lot more stuff that you haven't seen before, which does open up a slight can of worms because you don't know what it does if you're playing against them. But for all of you Dawi's R players out there, it's a good position to be in for sure.
Yeah, there's only one issue with the Iron Demon Skullcracker, and that's it doesn't have first charge. So, but that's a good and a bad thing. I was thinking about this because you think, oh, it doesn't have first charge. I'm not going to smash through that combat. You only want to win by 1 or 2, actually. You don't want to decimate with the Skullcracker because if your enemy flees from you, you will not catch it. You don't have Swift Stride, so you're on a straight equal, or if most chases, you're in a worse footing to catch someone. You want them to fall back in good order. Because if they're falling back in good order, that means they're more than 3 inches away most of the time, half the time, and now you're getting your impact hits again. So it is actually a decent thing, them not having first charge, because you're not going to fully break them until they're almost gone, because they don't get to run things down. That's where my old favourites, the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders, come back in, because these boys are champions. Richie's played against my Chaos Dwarves enough times, and these Hobgoblins are a pain in his ass. Because they're so cheap, they're so quick, and the boss hits like a truck.
Yeah, no, they're really, really good. So if you've got any artillery, you're going to have to leave something to protect it. For people that are playing against these, I would suggest something that doesn't use ballistic skill to hit them. So like a Gun Thane, or if you've got like a mage that's got like Fireball, something like that, you just because you need to try and kill them. Obviously, ballistic skill shooting can do it, but it's nowhere near as reliable.
Because you're always going to be claiming heavy cover with these guys, because they've got reserve move, fire and flee, feigned flight, and evasive. They've got literally every kind of you can't see me rule going, bar straight up invisibility.
Yeah, they're going to be hiding behind buildings, so half the models can't be seen, but they can see the thing that they're going to charge, and just all kind of shenanigans, really.
I'm going to let you see one model, so you can target me, and then go, Like,
Yeah, they're just such a nice little tech piece. I really like them. I think they're really, really good. I think anyone who playing Chaos Dwarves that isn't running these is probably missing a trick, because I think these are probably one of the strongest. They don't look strongest on paper, but when you're playing a game, they're probably one of the strongest tech pieces in the entire army.
yeah, and to unlock them, it's 55 points to unlock them. So that's how much it costs to just get a Hobgoblin Khan on a wolf. Now, most of mine end up costing between 60 and 90. They're hilarious with Ruby Rings of Ruin on them. They're really, really good with that, because you've got a reserve move Ruby Ring in an army that doesn't have that much magic output. Well, the Iron Demon's a magic output, but I mean, like, as in magical dice output. You could just give him a great weapon. That's 60 points. A Khan on a great weapon with 5 dudes next to him. Now, these Hobgoblin Wolf Riders are rare, so chances are you're only going to be taking 2 units of these if you play a match play guide. But 2 units of them supplements your army greatly, because there's not that many other rare options that you have. The other things that we can take, though, that are Hobgoblin that I really like now are Sneaky Gits. Previously, we didn't see these on the table very often, but they can absolutely destroy backline elements and are phenomenal if you're playing baggage train. What they're doing is they're an ambush unit of 10 goblins that are ballistic skill 4, skirmish, and they've got throwing weapons. So that means that they're coming on with 20 shots on the turn they come on. Okay, they're only strength 3, but they're hitting you on 4s. There's 10 shots that's probably going to go through. Oh, you're a cannon? I'm probably going to kill you. You know, the dice are saying I'm going to get most of the time 3 6s through out of 20 shots. Maybe it takes 2 turns to do it. Okay, so then you've got a cannon that has to turn round to either then grape shot these Sneaky Gits, and I can tell you as someone who's used cannons to shoot skirmishers before, you're going to roll a 2 every time.
Or a misfire.
It will be 1 under the number you need to cause a panic test. That's what you're going to roll on grape shot.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's the rules. So yeah, they're really, really good. It's 60 points for that skirmishing unit. They're not core, so they're not going to score objectives for you, but they can score domination, baggage train. They get rid of artillery really quickly. The little crap unit of 12, whatever people have left on their home objective in Strat 1, they can just walk on and delete them. Because if they charge in the rear or the flank as well, they've got backstab, so they're going to be re-rolling as hits. Yeah, hit rolls. So they're very, very good. They're very, very, very good. The thing which Chaos Dwarves used to be able to do okay in 1.3, I think was the last thing, they're very good at now in 1.5, and that's the artillery. The Death Shriekers more than the Earth Shakers. And that's only because the Earth Shakers are so expensive. You know, 185 points, that's just crazy. That's more than the Cathay gun. No,
Yeah, it's too much. It's far too much.
Yeah. They're very good, don't get me wrong. Being able to, so they've got all the same rules as the Cathay Quake. It's the exact same rules, but it's coming from a stone thrower instead. That's really cool, don't get me wrong, but I can't squeeze them into the list. Not when 2 Death Shriekers is 240 points. And that's where I keep landing a lot of the time. I'll be taking between 2 and 3 Death Shriekers and between 2 and 3 Bolt Throwers, and creating this line of artillery with these little engineers, like I was saying at the start, in between them, and just saying, come to me. Yeah. I found that playing these big flying monsters can work, but this new method that I found of doing them is very pro. It's going towards the way the meta's shifting, with more infantry units. So your stone throwers and your bolt throwers are better, with more weaker units, because people are either throwing everything into a giant Death Star, or it's tons of little crappy things. Because the tons of little crappy things are scoring objectives better. Look at Chaos armies. It used to be like 2 units of knights and a couple units of dogs. Now it's like 7 units of Marauder horsemen. You know, everything's gotten that way. You used to play 2 big bricks of dwarves, and now it's what, like 7 units of gyros in total, and then 2 units of rangers, and so everyone's dumbing their stuff down or smashing it into 1 brick. If you smash everything into 1 brick, cool, here's a D6 wound stone thrower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can kind of confuddle yourself, unfortunately, with the Earthshaker, because if you are running the army that's got all of the big flyers, turning Swift Stride off on yourself, because you're probably going to be going after the thing that you're shooting at, not good.
No, I did it to myself in the GT final. I scattered 10 in the wrong direction. I was out of range for an engineer misfire. reroll, sorry. And yeah, that stopped me using my swift stride to flee away from an enemy and got my general killed.
I think one of the things you slightly glossed over on the Death Shriekers, for those people out there that haven't used them or they don't play the Dawis, are they're strength 5 and they're also D6 damage. Somehow they're D6 damage. So that just got brought forward from a previous edition. They were just like, fuck it, we're just gonna copy these rules from the last book. Nobody cares. And yeah, 3 of these could take down Cathay balloons. This is probably one of the best artillery into them. You're wounding them on 4s, and then it's D6 wounds. So if you spike, you can bang out a balloon a turn. And knowing from someone that runs lots of artillery, it can happen. It can really happen.
Yeah, and you can actually look at Cathay and laugh at them as well, because you go, your fire rain rocket is a Death Shrieker. It just is, for all extents and purposes, but you crew's shit, and it costs 130 points. My Death Shrieker's got Dwarf crew. We can agree. We've got different sides of dwarfdom, Richie, but dwarves are better than humans. We can
Dwarves
agree
are better.
Yeah.
Rock and stone, baby.
Yeah, hush up, fire. Fire and smoke, you can keep your rock and stone. But no, the Death Shriek is only 120 points, which is really quite cool. The upgrade as well to Hellbound, so now I cause fear. That doesn't sound like it's that important, but what that means is, let's say you're coming up against demons and Furies charge you. Cool. I'm not taking any fear tests. I'm not going to be hitting you on 6s. Okay, we've got really high leadership anyway, but it's cool. That Hellbound also lets you have magical damage, and it gives you 1 reroll on your artillery dice per game. At 150 points, you are now cheaper than the Cathay one. Okay, you're not firing twice, but you've got magical output now. You're causing fear, and you can reroll once per game, the same that they can reroll once per game. You're losing 1 ability but gaining another one, and you also are gaining a 6-up ward save against non-magical damage. I really like 450 points of these, which is 3 of them. Supported by 2 90-point engineers, and that's where our points is coming from, because now I'm not spending 490 points on a bull or 360 points on a wyvern. I'm putting them back here. My melee output has now really gone into my Khans instead. So it's big damage is coming from the stone throwers. And I've played a few test games, and you might laugh, but you take a dragon down to 1 wound, you charge it with a Hobgoblin Khan with a great weapon, it can and will kill it. I've done it. I've done it twice. So, and that's the thing. As soon as you take these dragons or whatever down to 1-2 wounds, they start running. And that's where the Hobgoblins really start coming into their own then, because you can't outrun them. They're movement 9 with missile weaponry. And eventually you'll catch them. Also, your stone throwers, they don't need line of sight. They're stone throwers. They're really, really cool. The bit that I'm yet to figure out is the flame cannon. The magma cannon, sorry. And I think it's better than any other flame cannon for one purpose, and that's the steam carriage ability. You can tow these with Iron Demons and then fire them as if they hadn't moved. So that means you can swing them down flanks, which is quite interesting.
No, that is quite good. I think if you're playing into like vampires or you're playing into like Tomb Kings, so if you can just kind of tow that up the board without it being killed, then you can get down like the line of Ushabti, or you can get like down a line of 14, 15 wide archers, and you can do a lot of damage. I haven't been able to make the Dwarf Flame Cannon work just because firing in a straight line and not being able to pivot the flame is a little bit rubbish. But if you can get that down the flank or something, that opens up a lot more possibilities.
This has always been the issue of it, is not being able to really align things properly. But the wording on it is that you move your Iron Demon and then you place your flame cannon, or you can do it with most of the artillery pieces, behind the Iron Demon X distance away. So you've got this whole rear arc that you can place it in anywhere in that arc as it Tokyo drifts around a corner. Like I say, haven't yet to do it because they're the same points as the Death Shrieker. At Strength 5 AP1, no multiple wounds on the Magma Cannon. That's a lot of tech that needs to work to get it to happen. Now, if your meta is nothing but goblins and Empire State troops and undead, wicked, take this, because 9 partials is better than 3 partials, simply put. You're still wounding everything on 2s, and there's no multi-wounds in sight, so just rock on.
It's nice to see. Hopefully, we'll actually see some of them on the tabletop. It'd just be good to see all of the flame cannons. I think they do all need a little bit of a points adjustment going forward. Like I think in Old World 2.0, I think if we see a little bit of adjustment on the points, maybe drop them down by like 10%, 20%, they might see a little bit more play. I think especially the dwarf one, I think if they drop that down to maybe 100 points, I think it might see play.
Either that or something that I've seen from other game systems. I've been getting really into Horus Heresy recently, is applying basically psychological effects on normal weaponry. We already have an example of this in the Fire Aim rocket launcher, where if you fire the pie plate and cause a wound, it causes a panic test. I think that should be just on flame cannons. All flame cannons, if you cause a wound to them, panic test immediately, or a wound caused by them, rather. Because I'd scream if I was standing next to you, Richie, and you suddenly just went and just exploded in fire. That would scare the living crap out of me more than if you'd just taken a bullet, I think.
That is something we've seen a lot less of than previous editions, and also being able to stop it as well. Like we used to have that, like immune to psychology in Old World doesn't do anything like it used to do. Mm-hmm. So there used to be a lot more psychological effects in the game when it was Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and there was also a lot more ways to kind of stop it as well. Whereas we don't really see too much of that now. So maybe in 2.0, if that comes back, I think that would just be a good thing. Although it does add another level of complexity to the game in an already pretty complex game. So maybe it'd be a good thing that it's gone. Maybe it's not, but I'd like to see it come back, I think.
I mean, alternative play modes is something they've always toyed with in the past, and they've always been something on the side or in addition to things, something you could do at a narrative level. I'd love it if they did something like that. One of my favourite expansions ever released was Albion, where you had all your missile weaponry had different effects in the game depending on how much it had rained previously that day. Heavier armour took movement penalties. I'd love all that stuff to come back. Should we talk about orcs? We haven't talked about orcs yet.
Yes, so I'd love to talk about them, but there is something that we previously glossed over, and it's the reason why you're probably not going to take the Black Orc on Wyvern anymore. Mm-hmm. The Wyvern has potentially become one of the worst monsters in the entire game, and I'll tell you for why. So nowadays, when you do challenges, because you're probably going to be throwing this into infantry because that's pretty much what's going to be there, or it's going to be like going into the front of knights. What do all of these units have? Champions. Now, the challenge mechanic that it's changed to is it's basically down to initiative now. So your fight first one tail attack is probably going to kill that champion, and then you don't get any more attacks.
Yeah.
So suddenly your like 400 point model has done one wound, that's it, and you're going to get combat resed out, chased down, and killed.
Yeah, for viewers at home, it's probably a little bit too much. It is an AP, nothing attack, but it is still high strength, and it's poison, so on a 6 it always hits. Before you'd always moan because it did nothing, but I can guarantee now, because it's the fickle fates, it will be the only thing that ever does anything. So yeah, so we don't look at the Wyvern as much anymore. Personally, I think it's too expensive for what it's providing us. All it's giving to us now is a fly move and some AP2 attacks. There is one other massive loss that we had in 1.5, which is everyone lost the Black Orc Chariot outside of Nomad War. This hit us hard. It was such a good piece to have. The amount of static CR that it could bring, the amount of attacks that it could bring, it was phenomenal. But that doesn't mean the other chariot isn't good. A Black Orc Warboss on a standard chariot is still a very, very good thing to have. It can't take the big one anymore, but you can still get 3 crew members on this thing. You can still, if you really feel baller, you can give it Frenzy if you really want to. I'd suggest against it, but you can. And you can put
always Frenzy. Yeah. Always Frenzy.
And the magic items as well. I feel like that's changed up a little bit. A Talisman of Protection is now something that I'd always bang on this thing without even thinking about it. The regen trousers, also something I would put on without thinking about it much. But things which I would maybe consider now, which I didn't before, the magic resistance items are crucial these days. So Armor of Mork, just being able to put a suit of heavy armor on this guy to give him a magic res 2 is quite nice. Or giving him a Spell Eater Axe as well, just a quick magic res 2. He's going to do quite a lot of damage with anything you give him. He doesn't need much help. even with just a basic great weapon or a spear, he's cracking. I do think the unit of Black Orcs, however, is a trap, unfortunately. Now, I have tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to make the Demonology BSB brick of Black Orcs a thing. And you have to spend roughly 750 points to get it to work. And at that level, I think you can spend that point better anywhere else in this book. Literally anywhere else. Predominantly, spend it on goblins. Just goblins. And you'll have a better time because most people can't chew through 120 goblins in a game. The reason why I say I think the thing's a trap. Let's say the good things and the reason why people like it and those who aren't aware of it, what it does. So, Black Orcs by themselves, awesome. We can give them the big red raggedy flag as their magical standard, so now they're weapon skill 5, and they've got it's a war banner, so another +1 on their combat res. With the way the new infantry fighting in 2 ranks work, I'll have my whole back rank as great weapons, because they're only going to get 1 attack anyway, and I'll have my whole front rank as either 2 hand weapons or hand weapon and shield. I pay for them to have 2 hand weapons, so then if I'm on the charge, it's a horrendous amount of attacks, because orcs get an extra 8 points of AP on all mundane weapons on the charge. You can then put the Lamasu's Beard banner in there, so now they've got a ward save and magic resistance 2. You can then put a Demonology Sorcerer in there. So level 4 in Demonology with a Lore Familiar, so you're fishing for Steed of Shadows, Demonic Vigor, Demonic Vessel. So now your guys with 2 hand weapons in the front have now got 3 attacks apiece at Strength 5, AP 2. Your great weapons behind them are Strength 7, AP 4. This got scary very, very quickly. And I bet you're thinking, listening to me, Tom, you said this didn't work. This sounds amazing. Yeah, it costs 750 points to do this. And there's like 28 models. That's it. You know. Also, it's movement 3 because you've got 2 dwarves in this unit. So that's a bit crap. There's no drilled on this unit. Okay. The reason it doesn't work is if this is the Black Orc unit, just go around it. I'll just go around it. That's all I'll do because you're movement 3 with no drilled. Okay, you can Steed of Shadows and you can ping 36 inches over the board in marching column. Now what? For the love of God, if you're going to do this, don't make them frenzied. Because do you know what I'm going to do? Sit 9 inches away from you. 9.9 inches away from you. So you're just within declarable charge range and you fail every turn. And you just keep running away for the whole game. So, yeah, it's so hard to get these things to work because and I think this is a problem with any melee Death Star right now is you can make some truly horrendous shit. Okay, cool, go park it on the middle objective. I'll go score the rest of the board around you. The other 1,250 points in your list, I'll beat that and I'll get every other objective on the board because you've got no defense anywhere else because you've put it all here. It's a big issue. I think there's only one army that can pull off true Death Stars at the moment and it's Undead because they don't care if you kill the rest of them.
Well, they just come back.
They just come back, exactly. So they don't care. But anyone else, like, I don't know about you, Richie, but have you managed to get, like, a proper Death Star army working yet in 1.5?
No. So I'm trying at the moment, like, a double Death Star. I'm just kind of, this is going to sound slightly heretical, but I'm starting to move away from the gyrocopter spam. The reason for this is so many armies now are just stacking minus to hit everywhere. The WTC comp, for anybody that doesn't know, limits the amount of like scout gyrocopters you can take. So suddenly that means to be able to preserve your points in the air, you've got to take the normal gyrocopters, which hit just absolutely terribly. Like if you're -2 or -3 to hit with a normal gyrocopter, you're just never hitting. Like you're not doing a thing. So suddenly half your army isn't doing a thing the entire game. So just trying to find new ways to play. I think still with X-Force because sappers are absolutely amazing. But yeah, like you just can't put everything into one Death Star anymore because you're just not claiming the objective points. Like if you're sat at the back of the board on one objective and that's the only thing you can score because that's all of your points are in one, then your opponent doesn't even have to engage with you. Like even if that Death Star's shooting, it's like, cool, we can just put stuff in front. You're going to shoot chaff the entire game. And they're going to have, say if you're playing Strategic Locations 4, they're going to claim the other 3 objectives, just sit there and handily win. They don't even need to kill anything. And if they've got like fast moving ambushers or anything like that, they'll just come and claim the stuff that isn't in the Death Star. Yep. So I think, unfortunately, the age of Death Star outside of Undead is dead. Is dead. But I know, yeah. But I think having a kind of like maybe a double Death Star, because no one can afford 3, right? Unless you're goblins. But I think 2 could potentially work.
Mhm.
But it's just taken a lot of testing to do. Obviously, it's a completely new game, and obviously with Cafe coming in as well, yeah, it's a lot to try and test into and to see what works, because you'll make a list that really takes into Cathay and then suddenly you get smashed by vampires. You make something that works really well into vampires and Bretonia smashes you. And it's quite hard at the moment, I think, with all armies that aren't undead to make a kind of an all-rounder army that can kind of beat like most of the armies. I think
Yeah,
it's quite difficult. I think we will get there. Obviously, 1.5 is still pretty new. There haven't been loads of events for it yet. Like even us that have been playing all the time, like it still takes a lot of games. Like we're not even certain on the best stuff on any of the factions yet, and we've played hundreds of games since 1.5 come out. It just takes a while to figure it out, I think.
it certainly does. So there's some Death Star builds you can do if you are someone who really enjoys loading up units in this. You can do it. The one that was previously used quite a lot in Chaos Dwarfs was the Blunderbuss one, where you would take about 500 points of dwarves, you'd give them the Razor Banner, you'd give them blunderbusses, and that a wizard in there would travel mystical pathways and just go have fun. This still works. It's very hard to do now because TMP is a hard spell to cast. We're only getting a +2. You can get up to a +4 in Chaos Dwarves, but it's difficult and it's not always guaranteed. You also can't take Lore Familiar if you're going to do this. So your Dark Forged weapon gives you a 1 in 6 chance, and then you've got Wand of Jet that can gives you +1 cast and dispel. So you can get back up to a +4 again, but like I say, no Lore Familiar now. So if you've got a list that works around a key spell, you still do need to take that Lore Familiar. So if I was going to be doing that list, I'd take just Lore Familiar and then as many points of Power Scrolls as I could take, and probably one of the Chaos Dwarf specific Power Scroll as well. So yeah, it's not easy. I wouldn't recommend it. It's also because the targets that you used to shoot aren't there anymore. Dragons are wimps now. So yeah, and if they are there, it's like, oh, what, you got 2 saves, not 7. Okay, cool. Wicked. I can kill you now. Here, take 50 blunderbuss shots and it will just fall over. They are pretty good against infantry, but you're only going to be getting a little bit of shooting now as opposed to every single gun. And remember, you need 20 of them to be actually firing to gain your benefits, your blunderbuss special rules. So it's very hard to make work. Fireglaves, sick now. Really cool Fireglaves are because of the 1.1 changing weapons rule. So in step 1.1 of the combat phase, you are now allowed in every single combat phase to choose what weapons you're using. You're not locked. So first turn, shields, shield wall. Second turn, fucking halberd time. Make sure you get that shield wall stubborn proc, which all dwarves come with because dwarves are awesome. And yeah, they're really good now. Also, strength 4, AP1 armor, Bane 1, 18-inch handguns. Sick. They're not going to kill a lot, but I mean, a halberd for most. Like, do you get halberds? Great weapons you get, don't you? How much is a great weapon?
Yeah.
Like 2
Uh,
points?
it's either 2 points or 1 point, depending on what model it's on, but averagely 2 points.
Yeah, so what? 2 extra points for the gun bit. Not that bad. Should we talk about the new models? I feel like we've talked about the army enough. Let's talk about the new models.
Yeah, I think so. Like, obviously, everybody's aware because nobody's living under a rock. But Games Workshop has brought back the Chaos Dwarves, kind of.
Kind
So, yeah,
of.
so they brought them back for Age of Sigmar and kind of like a new art style as well. And some of the models I really like. Some of them I'm not a massive fan on. I prefer the older 4th edition style. That's just me. I mean, everybody's got their personal opinion
Yeah.
on which one they prefer. I find the new art styles. I don't know why they just didn't do it kind of like the old Forge World models from 8th edition. Don't get me wrong, like I do really like them. Like I do rate the entire range really. But I just find it's really strange that they've gone for almost an amalgamation of the both.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to push certainly the Chaos Dwarfs thing into, if I say fantasy, science fantasy fiction, sci-fi fan, like Skaven. So they are a fantasy race, but there's like a sci-fi element to them. It feels like they're pushing Chaos Dwarves in that direction as well. So they are very firmly, this is a dragons and magic place where they live in, but they've also figured out engineering and the Pythagorean theorem. They've figured out an industrialization. So it feels like a caricature of a few of their elements from fantasy. So they use trains, they use magic, they're chaotic, but they're not actually that chaotic anymore, which, whole different thing. This isn't an Age of Sigmar channel, so we don't need to give two craps about what their new lore is. No shade, we just don't care. Simple as that. But the new models are really, really cool. And I think there's a place to use pretty much all of them in an old world Chaos Dwarf army. There's a few things obviously that are missing, but you could also use other Age of Sigmar models to keep that aesthetic for your Hobgoblins and your Wolf Riders. So you could buy now a full GW Chaos Dwarf army, which is pretty cool. Just being able to say that is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I never thought we'd actually see the day, especially after the Forge World range. But yeah, it's amazing. Also, some of them are really nice, like the Lamassu and the Bull. Chef's kiss. Love it.
I personally not the biggest fan of the Bull, but I love the character on them. I just don't like the pseudo, it's not a robot, but is almost a robot thing that is going on, Like, I just wish they'd have landed on one of two sides of it. Either make it a bull or make it a robot. It's got the same failings that the old General on Cyber Pony used to have.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Although I think that might come down to the fact that the paint jobs that they had, on the initial paint jobs, I didn't particularly like them. I've seen some of them since then that are done like kind of like rusty and stuff, and they do look really, really good like that.
I'm not sure if the actual physicals, are they in store yet, or is it just like the YouTubers and content creators have got them?
I think they might be coming out this weekend.
Oh, cool. But yeah, so plastic, lovely. They're hopefully that big cow thing with the cannons like this isn't like the Terracotta Sentinel to build, like isn't a total pig. Because I would love to use that thing as artillery. It would make a really nice hellbound. It would make a sick magma cannon. It would make a sick Death Streaker. Even though there are new artillery pieces, they've given us a Death Streaker rocket launcher now. I don't think you could quite use it as an Iron Demon. I don't think it's quite big enough for that. Like chariot-based kind of size. But it's very cool. You could even use it as a character. Stick some wings on the back of that thing. Bam! You've got your Lord on Taurus.
Or my favourite thing of all, unit filler.
Unit filler, yeah, it would be sick. I think it's big enough to bang on 100 by 100 mil base in the middle of a bunch of hobgoblins. Like, get cracking on that. It'd be really cool. But if you didn't want to use Chaos Dwarfs from Games Workshop for whatever reason, there's like a ton of sculptors out there that you can get models from. Obviously, myself, I'm quite oriented towards the 3D world, and there are tons and tons of creators. White Angel, Mom Miniatures are the two that spring to mind straight away. They've got very, very healthy, like evil dwarf-looking ranges that you can totally use as proxies, whilst keeping distinct enough that they are their own aesthetic entirely. But you can be able to find enough things within those ranges to plug the holes in the list. There's a lot of other sculptors out there that work in physical models as well. So you can find out there tons of tiny companies that do metal casting, because there's a ton of nostalgia behind Chaos Dwarves. If anyone loves them, there's a chance they've loved them for about 20 years. I know I have. I've loved them since the 90s. And those of us who played in the 80s and the 90s have an affinity for metal. It's really weird. If you hand me two of the exact same model, and three of them, let's say plastic, 3D print, and resin and metal, I'll always go for the metal one. The weight feels good. I don't care if the details are a bit smudgy. It's heavy. It's good. Heavy means luxury in my pea brain, and I just love it. I really love it. So you're getting a lot of people who are casting Chaos Dwarves now, and a quick Google will point you in that direction. I don't want to say any of their names directly on camera should the Overlord come down and put his banhammer upon their head, because there's been a few people on the way out recently. But yeah, just know that if you do Google, they're out there, but unfortunately I can't name direct names.
That was a quick message from our channel sponsor. Head over to UK Resin Print if you want to get anything printed. Back to the show.
I love that. But yeah, UK Resin Print, lots and lots of Chaos Dwarves. There's a reason that my logo is a Chaos Dwarves, because I love them evil dwarves. But yeah, orcs and stuff like that you can really get from anywhere. GW, obviously, you've got lots of different orcs. Goblins you can get from near enough anywhere. You go into Nottingham in Lenton and throw a stone and you'll hit a manufacturer who makes goblins. Like, there's about 7 of them. The world is your oyster on that one. And Iron Demons, I would say, if you don't want to go for the traditional one, do something weird and cool. One of my Iron Demons is from Lost Kingdom. It's a big rhinoceros with a gigantic cannon on the back of it. So get a bit weird with stuff that you can't just get hold of straight away. But one of the things about Chaos Dwarves is you'll find that they're not a meta-specific army. They never have been. And they never will be. So you build this army for the love of it. It's not something that you're going to paint up in 3 weeks for the tournament that's coming up around the corner because you want to smash it 5-0. You will do well with them, don't get me wrong. But they are an army with so much character that you will just fall in love with all over again. And they're one of those armies, and I say this with a huge amount of recent personal experience. As I'm sure many of you are aware, Richie and myself with the leadership, as it were, for Team England, and there has been a crap load of work going on with Worlds in just under 2 weeks away. And I played a game with Chaos Dwarves the other day. Yeah, it's coming home.
Coming home, baby!
Yeah, and our brains are kind of melty right now with the amount of practice work that we've been doing, not just with our own armies, but with the admin side of stuff as well. So I just wanted a fun game the other day, picked up Chaos Dwarves, and I was actually using one of the other WTC. So this is still a sweaty list. My God, the smile it put on my face after playing Cathay for the last 3 months. I was like, this is Warhammer. I've got big units of stuff. I've got artillery. Yeah, fun. It was awesome. Yes, my orcs got carried around the map for the whole fucking game, and yes, I lost horribly, but it was great. I loved it.
No, I've been exactly the same. Every game I've been playing with my Slayers, I'm just like, yes, I'm just going to run at you. Yeah. I have no other way to interact. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
let's go.
I would recommend to people who are out there, and if you've made it to this point in the video, I would hope that you are someone who's quite interested in Old World, either as someone who's been playing it for a while, or as someone who's newly going to get into it. If you're new to it, this bit's not for you, unfortunately, but we're very glad to have you. This is for people who have been in it for a while and might be getting a bit bored. If you're someone who's been playing just one army for a while now, pick up something that's dumb and stupid, that you just want to paint for the aesthetic of it, and then try your best to turn it into a real list, but just play it and just have fun with it. And you would be surprised just how much of a smile that will put on your face and how much you can change your perspective of things. If you've been playing, I don't know, vampire counts for the last 6 months and smacking your head against a wall, trying to get up through those rankings, trying to get better and better and better, or even just in your club, trying to beat everyone, or trying to become a better player yourself, go pick up Ogre Kingdoms. Go run some meat at someone that doesn't require any level of technical thought. Not saying you can't do it with Ogre Kingdoms, but just go, wow, and run. And you'll have a great time. It'll be so much fun, and you'll be better for it. And I bet you that army looks nicer as well because you put more love into it.
Yeah, I think the thing is that everybody forgets is Warhammer is a game. You're meant to enjoy it. You're not meant to grind it. Obviously, we've been grinding it for Worlds and for tournaments and stuff, but we do also play fun games as well. So you don't need to play these crazy sweaty games all the time. Like, just because your mate's coming around your house, you don't need to take 7 balloons. You don't need to take 3 dragons. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can just have fun. Like, I'm going to, so I've just recently booked in for a narrative event that's happening in February where it's 20 players and it's 10 players, 10 dwarf players and 10 orcs and goblins players, and I'm going to bring the worst list you have ever seen. There's going to be Dragon Company. I'm going to bring like 500 points of hammers. I'm going to do anything. It's going to be glorious.
Let us know if you were going to go to a narrative event. What would convince you to actually go to that narrative event? Because everyone throws the term around. But if you say, I'm putting up a narrative event next week, what differentiates that from a tournament? Like, in your eyes as a person, I'm saying to like the comment section, to everyone watching, what would make it worth it? Because me and Richie have been wanting to go to one for so long, and it just seems that no one's got a clear idea of what that means.
Yeah, I think like considering that we met going to narrative tournaments in sixth edition, where there was the overarching storyline and you could progress your army and progress your characters and stuff, and there was a story happening as well. For me, I think it would be quite nice to see like narrative campaigns come back. Like it's a real shame that Alexander didn't carry on doing them in Old World. That would have been really nice if he'd have brought them forward. Obviously, there is, I feel, a gap in the market. If somebody, some TO out there has had enough of all the sweaty gamers and wants to create some narrative events going forward, I think there's a nice little gap in the market for that as well.
Yeah, totally. Even if it's if it's small points, big points, whatever, it would be the kind of thing like we've talked about in this video, the good things and the bad things. It could just be that I don't care. I'm taking 600 points of Bull Centaurs because I like my Cowie boys. And you do that. You have a great weekend for it because you know that you're not going to come up against Triple Dragon. You know that that's not going to be a possibility. So if anyone does want to do it, please, there's a bloody call for it. We'd all love to do it. And I feel like we're at that point in the game now where it's not just us. I can hear 40k players crying out for it all the time. Age of Sigmar players, they're looking at the Necromunda players and the Heresy players with great, great jealousy going, your entire system's narrative based. How nice is that? So yeah, Old World tournament organizers, do it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that narrative event. Anyway, right, we've not talked about the Dawi's for too long, so we'll probably leave it there. Thank you very much for coming on, Tom, and thank you to all of you Hashut lovers who have stayed to the end of this video, and a special thanks to all of the channel members. Couldn't be doing this without you. So we shall see you on the next one. Rocket Stone and Fire and Ash, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.